You're listening to the Power Lunch. I am Nikki Holland, and I'm joined here at the round table with Joe Underwood, current school board representative and seeking re-election in District 5. You'll see his name on the primary ballot. Joe, first, thanks for coming in. I really appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk with you. I know Joe personally, have known him since, 14 years now?
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So it's an honor to get to sit down and talk with you about the school board today.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about you, about Joe.
Yeah, we talked a little bit before the break as kind of my background. You know, I was a CTE student, just like a lot of kids here in Dickson County are, and I did that. After my CTE, I went to work in the private sector, you know, and took some college classes during that time. I just was interested in business for some reason, and there was a local community college where I lived, and I took some entrepreneurial business stuff, and I don't know why I took it. It just interested me, and but I got a job with an outfit shortly after I got laid off, and I got another job managing Christian singing artists, and they needed somebody to represent them closer to Nashville, and so I moved to Nashville and to help this company that I was working for. It wasn't long; they went out of business, but here I was, you know, in down in Dickson, Tennessee, and I met a little Southern belle, and so I hung around and married her. From there, I went on and started working in the plants, you know, and I worked my way up. You know, I was just straight off the streets, went in as a laborer and got to work and became a team leader. After that, I became a stupidvisor, as I like to say, a supervisor. And after that, I became the production manager for an outfit called Liggett and Platt. And so I've done the whole gamut there, you know, from top to bottom. And after that, when that job was over, you know, I did some travel. They'd sent me to Mexico and did some other things, and I just got to where, you know what, I think I want to get back to this business thing, and I just opened up a business, and so that's me in a nutshell. I know that's long, but there's a lot of life experience inside that. So.
Absolutely, and your father. You have girls that went through and are going through the school system.
Yes, I still got a daughter in school, and I've got two that have been through this school, and one of them that was a math teacher here at the high school for a couple of years. She has gone on to work for the state now, but and the other one has gone to Austin Peay. So, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Still vested. And,
well, let's talk about your why.
Okay.
Why do you want to keep your seat?
Well, you know, when I signed up the first time, there was nobody running, and I knew that there was no one running, and I was about to retire from what I was doing, and I thought, you know what, I haven't had the opportunity to serve the community, and I think this would be, you know, I think I should, you know, and I think I should get in there. So I jumped in full, you know, both feet, and it's pretty steep learning curve. You know, there's a lot of acronyms in the school system.
A lot of letters,
yeah,
ABCs.
A lot of different acronyms, but you know, it's not hard though to take your common sense in. You know, if anybody can use any deductive reasoning and any type of analytical thinking, I think they'll do fine. They'll probably run into some resistance here and there, and that's all right, you know. But you know, the reason I want to do it is to serve, though. You know, to get back to that, you know, I'm here to serve. My leadership style throughout the years has always been servant leadership, and you know, I've always tried to work myself out of a job. You know, I always tried to hire people that were smarter than me, and go that direction. It's worked well for me out of all the hundreds of people that I've hired over the years. that has been my greatest achievement is to try to hire people that are better than me. But the main thing is to serve. I want to run because we've got a great asset here in this county, and it's the kids, our children. So I'm here to represent our children and to represent the constituents in District 5. When I go out and get signatures, I get an earful.
I bet.
And I like that. I like that because some of it's valid and some of it's not, and I can share with them what's really going on.
Right.
And
right.
so, but yeah, I'm just here to serve. I don't have any political ambition beyond this. They didn't elect me, for my lot in life. They elected me for my judgment, and that's what I'm going to bring.
Okay. All right. What district or community activities have you been involved with in the past? So you talked about going to the legislative meeting that y'all had where you talked with our lawmakers. What other organizations made people find interesting that you've been a member of?
Well, I've been a member of the High Noon Rotary, and that's that's there again. It's servant leadership, and I'm just drawn to that. I don't mind taking the fall individually if the group can progress, and that's just been me. But yeah, I've been with the Rotary Club, and I'm a very active member of our church, and we do backpacks for the kids. We give to our food pantry here in town in the community, but anything servant related, that's where I'm at. And I know I keep saying that, but that's just me.
It's just a common thread all the way through
Yeah.
life. So what attributes or behaviors or characteristics are important for a school board member to have?
Well, you need a sense of direction. You get a lot of calls saying, "Hey, go this direction," or, "Hey, go this direction," or, "Go that direction." But you've really got to stop, and I said it before. You got to take it and through analytical thinking and deductive reasoning, let it fall down and say, okay, is this good for the kids? Is this good for the community? Is this good for my constituents? Is this gonna possibly raise taxes? If we do something like that, or what can we do to keep that from happening? So, you're going to get a comment say, okay, on this option, I want you to go with A, and somebody else will call you with this option. I want you to go with B, and you get them just bombarding you left and right. But as a leader, anybody can be a leader, but to be a good leader, it takes experience, and you have to be able to make the right decision, even when it's not popular.
Right.
And leaders can't do that, but good leaders can.
Yeah. So there is a difference. What do you see as the primary focus of the school board? Like, what's your primary job?
Well, as you could probably guess, one of our primary jobs is to hire a director.
You don't say.
We hire a director. Yeah, we're over the director.
I feel like that happened here recently. Yeah.
We've recently done that, and our job is to policy. We make policy, which is helps the school district run. That's what helps our director do their job, is by following that policy. We approve budgets, and we try to be the fiscal hawk there, if you will, and we approve tenure. That's all we do.
Yep.
When someone calls and says, "Hey, I don't like this," or "I don't like that," sometimes you just have to say, "Well, call your teacher."
Yeah.
That'd be good to call your teacher. We really don't have a say in that. One thing that we do that we haven't had, that I've never done in the 3 years that I've been there, but is if there's something that happens in school and somebody's upset or let's say they get in trouble with something and they don't like the way that's going, they say, well, I'm just going to take this to the principal. And the principal, then they might take it to the director. Mm-hmm. The last appeal is to the school board.
Right.
And so when someone calls a school board member complaining about this, you have to say, stop, hang on just a minute.
Yeah.
Go through these channels because, that might eventually get to me.
Right.
And I need to have, I've got to have the blinders on
right.
here.
Right.
And so go through the channels, and if it gets to me, we'll take a look at that.
Yeah.
But you just got to be careful. They're like, yeah, you represent me. How come you're not listening to me? I am. Believe me, I am.
Yeah.
But you've got to go through the channels to make this work. It's like hiring it's like putting somebody on the jury that was a part of the crime. You don't want that to be the case.
Right.
So,
yeah. No, you want to stay away from that, right? Okay. What's a piece of policy that y'all have worked on here recently or during your term that you're particularly proud of?
Oh yeah. Well, one thing we're working on is it's law that to have FMLA, the Family Medical Leave Act. We're working on policy right now that will assure that our teachers would get paid during that time, and so that they wouldn't have to be out without pay. So that's something that we're working on. And there's little things that doesn't even pertain to policy. I know last year we were going through the budget and we had a 6% increase in wages, in there that our director brought to us. And when we got done, we had 12% in there. And, to try to take care of our teachers. We need to take care of our own. So
yeah. What's your biggest challenge, do you think?
As to what?
I guess district-wide, not necessarily. So I would, outside looking in, I would think that kind of the district challenge would be, and this doesn't necessarily fall on the school board to fix this, but recruitment.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can give you some insight on that. How much time do I have?
You got time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know, maybe a year ago, Mr. Danny Weeks came to me. He said, Joe, if I could work on anything in the school system, what do I need to get better at? And I said, you need to work on your teachers. And, we'll never be able, and this is what I told him, we'll never be able to compete with Williamson County. If Williamson County wants to up it, their pay, they can do it.
Yeah.
That's Williamson County, but we're in Dixon County. And what I told Mr. Weeks was, I went through the same thing. I had a small business here in Dixon, and there's no way that I can pay a mechanic, office personnel, or anything. There's no way that I can pay them here in Dixon what they can make in Williamson County or in Nashville or wherever. So what I had to do is you have to, and I told Mr. Weeks this, you have to get to a point where these people are included, that they want to stay here, even though they're not making the money. Mm-hmm. But you have to get them involved. You have to have a relationship and a rapport with our employees that they want to stay. And that's across the board for anybody in Dixon County. That's just the way it is. And so that's what you need to work on. That's what we need to work on, is having that rapport. I know DCEA, I love those teachers. They always have a meeting every month or so, and it's good to hear from them. But you just got to stay on top of that, because Dixon is a great place to work. Mm-hmm. But we need to make sure everybody's included.
Yeah. Okay. All right. How important is accessibility to school board members?
Well, I think it's important.
Yeah.
Anything else? I mean, they've got our email addresses there on the website, and we'll be glad to hear from you.
Yeah.
We'll be glad to hear from you. But, there's a lot of things that happen, like I said earlier, There's a lot of things that happen behind the scene, and I remember one time my mother was just getting after me for something. I mean, and I thought it was the most ridiculous thing.
I can't imagine.
I know. And anyway, when she got done and everything was said and done, everything worked out. And my mom looked at me right in the face, and she said, "See, there's a method to my madness." She said, "When I tell you to do something, I expect you to do it." And I was like, all right. And that's kind of how it is, with our school system. There's a method to the madness. And but when it's all said and done, it comes together like a lovely orchestra.
Yeah.
It just it plays out well. But just like any band, sometimes you need we need to work on the woodwinds a little bit, and sometimes we need to work on the brass.
Well, speaking of, what could our district do to improve? Well, let me say it like this. What's an area academically that you feel like we need to improve on, or we need to continue to push?
Right. Well, we're continuously pushing on this third grade retention, of course.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story. We just wrapped up a couple days in Franklin with the some legislative meetings, and we're meeting with our legislative leaders from the state of Tennessee there, and they were talking about the third grade retention laws and how that was going. And we talked about the voucher systems and what was going on there and our feelings upon that. But I thought one thing was interesting. We think that the school system should take the kid's scores and who the kid is and how he's done in the past and what have you, to be able to firmly and rightly judge whether or not that child needs to go on to the next grade. But what was interesting at this legislative meetings, and Liza, somebody says, when a college, when you're applying for school at a college, they want to know your ACT scores. They don't want to know about your third grade retention, whether or not you did that. And so then the crowd was they're all like, yeah. So we send a pretty strong message, I think, about that, and we sent a pretty strong message about the voucher systems as well.
Okay,
so,
I was going to ask. Yeah. I was going to ask how I got Miss Lampley's take on her view of the voucher system, and so I was going to ask you this.
Here's what our representatives told us. The governor says, "Hey, I want to have a voucher system," and now everybody's scrambling to get a voucher system that can pass. There's no laws that have been made. Excuse me a minute. There's no laws that have been made. Nothing is in stone yet. Yeah. But we're against it. Yeah. And as a whole, just because we think it takes away from our kids. Yeah. As a school system. So, but as far as I really couldn't give you, we don't have a law yet. We don't have nothing has even been drafted enough to get a consensus to be able to tell you what I think of the law. Okay. But in general, that's where we're at.
Okay. All right. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything you want to say to voters heading into the March 5th primary? You don't have a primary opponent. But it's still important for people to come out and vote.
Sure. Come on out and vote for me. Listen, I am not a politician. I never have been. And if you hang around me long enough, you realize that, my yes is yes and my no is no. And I depend on a lot of prayer when it comes to decisions that I've made. But I'm just a simple guy. I'm conservative. If you want somebody that's conservative, I'm your man. If you want somebody that's fiscally conservative, that's me. If you want someone that looks to the Lord or a higher power in their life, that's me.
Okay. All right. Well, our time's up. I appreciate you coming in. I always enjoy getting to talk to you. It's neat being able to talk to you on this level. So thank you for.
Yeah, you've got a captive audience here. I can't walk off.
So thanks for coming in. Early voting continues through the 27th, and you can do that in Charlotte or at the Dixon County Government Building here in the city of Dixon. You can find polling hours on WDKN.com, as well as more information about the Republican primary. We're gonna